Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming to another story time. This week is a very special week. It is Wolf Awareness Week, and wolves, bet you can guess, are one of my favorite animals. I have a lot of favorite animals, but I think wolves are super fascinating, and they're kind of a misunderstood animal. So this week is all about raising awareness for wolves, what they do for our ecosystems, and how maybe we think they are worse than they are, but they play a really, really important role in nature, so we need our wolves. So in honor of Wolf Awareness Week, we are going to read a story today about wolves. But first, our story today is about wolf howling. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how wolves communicate. So just like humans, wolves can communicate in two different ways. One we call verbal communication, when they make sounds, just like we make sounds when we talk. This is verbal communication. And the other way is through nonverbal communication. So that way does not include sounds. And we do this too. Nonverbal communication can include body language and facial expressions, right? So if I look really mad at you, I'm communicating something without using any sound. And wolves do the same thing. So if they're mad, maybe they're gonna, right, show their teeth, make that snarl face. If they're happy, they do something called a play bow. And you can see I have some dogs in the background. Our dogs might do that too. If they're scared, maybe they're gonna put their ears all the way back flat. So they can communicate with different body movements, body postures, and facial expressions, just like humans can in our nonverbal communication. Wolves also use scent as nonverbal communication, so they will mark their territories with urine, pee, or scat, poop. And then they also have different scent glands, like in between their toes even. So when they dig in the dirt, they're leaving their scent behind. So that is another way that wolves can communicate non-verbally. Now, the type of communication we're going to talk about in our story time today is that verbal communication, or the one that includes sound. So how do wolves communicate with sound? If you said howling, you're right. If you said barking, you're right. Whimpers or growls, you're also right. So they have 4 different sounds, but only one of those is used to communicate long distance sound, and that's the wolf howl. So our story today is going to be about wolf howling. Wolves might howl for different reasons. They might howl to defend their territory, or they might howl to get their pack back together, because they are pack animals. They live in groups, which is why communication is so important for wolves, right? If you're going to live with other beings, then you have to be able to talk to them, to organize and to efficiently. They hunt as a pack, and in order to be able to do that efficiently, they need to be able to communicate. I'm going to move because the sun is blinding me. All right, so let's get to our story today. Our story is called Little Wolf's First Howl. And this is a fictional story. It's not true, but I really love this book, and I'll talk a little bit more about why I love it at the end, but I bet you'll figure it out. So it's kind of a silly story, but it is about wolf howling, so I decided it was a fit for Wolf Awareness Week. Little Wolf's First Howl, written by Nora McGee Kvasnosky and Kate Harvey McGee. I'm also not quite sure what's going to happen when I have 2 dogs out here when I howl. Little Wolf's father led the way straight to the top of the hill. Little Wolf zigzagged behind, sniffing each outcrop and sage. "Tonight's the night," said Big Wolf. "Your first howling." Little Wolf's ears shivered with excitement. "I'm ready," he said. "I'm ready to howl." Father and son sat side by side. They watched as the stars blinked on and a full moon peeked over the mountain. "Is it time yet?" said Little Wolf. "Can I howl now?" "Hold on," said his father. "First, let me demonstrate proper howling form." Big Wolf stood tall. He took a deep breath. He lifted his muzzle to the sky and howled. "Ow!" The last notes drifted out over the valley. Little Wolf was thrilled to the tip of his tail. My turn now, right, Dad? Here I go, just like you. Big Wolf nodded. Okay, son, give it a try. Little Wolf stood tall. He took a deep breath. He lifted his muzzle to the sky and howled. Ow! I'm howling, howling, howling. What do you think? Was that proper wolf howling form? Big Wolf raised an eyebrow. That was a good beginning, he said, but your finish was not proper howling form. Let me demonstrate again. Ow! I got it, said Little Wolf. Little Wolf lifted his muzzle to the sky and howled again. Ow! Dippity doppity skippity scoppity skoo! Woo! Little Wolf looked over at his father. What do you think, Dad? Did you like it? Did you? Big Wolf sighed. Son, I'm proud of your nose, which has led you to many new trails. I admire your strength when you tumble with the other pups. Most of all, I love how your ears express your thoughts. But your howling? It is not proper howling form. Little Wolf hung his head. Little Wolf's sad his dad didn't like his howling. Says he's not doing it right. Let me demonstrate again, said Big Wolf. Listen closely. Ow! Each note rang clear and true and soared to the moon. Your turn, said Big Wolf. Little Wolf's heart swelled with wildness and joy. He knew it wasn't proper howling form, but he had to let loose. Skiddly scoddly beep bop a boo boo boo! Bop-a-da bop-a-da wee bop a diddly daddly doo! Big Wolf listened closely. His tail started wagging. His ears started twitching. His paws started tapping. Big Wolf couldn't help it. Big Wolf jumped in. Yip yip a dibby dibby doo up a doo! Little Wolf grinned from ear to furry ear and howled back. Yip yip a dibby dibby doo up a doo! Skiddly scoddly beep bop a boop boop boo! Boppity boppity wee bop a diddly diddly doo! Dippity doppity skippity boppity skoo! Woo! We're howling, howling, howling to the moon! Together they howled the moon to the top of the sky. Little Wolf stuck close to his father as they trotted home. Wait until we tell the others, he said. Big Wolf smiled. Oh, I expect they already know. Because that's how wolves communicate long distances. And my neighbors right now are probably wondering what I'm doing. But I think this is a super fun story that reminds us that it's okay to be a little different than everybody else and do things in your own way. So Little Wolf kept getting told by his dad that he was doing it wrong, but his way was super fun and brought joy to his heart. And eventually Dad said, okay, and joined in. And I think that's really sweet. Obviously, this is probably not how wolves howl, but if you want to learn more about wolves, it is Wolf Awareness Week, and we in Minnesota actually have a super awesome center called the International Wolf Center up in Ely, and their website is amazing and full of great information and book recommendations, video recommendations for families, for kids. You can learn a bunch right on their website, and you can even watch their live wolf cams and see their packs moving around and see what they're up to. So I highly recommend checking out their website this week. It's a great way to learn about wolves. And we will see you next week for another story time. Goodbye.